Hey Faith family, it's Brother Mario. I pray you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to go ahead and create a video here to continue in my video series that I'm going to be calling The Mark is Near. A video series that I'm designing in order to display the prophetic fulfillment that is occurring when it comes to the establishment of the Antichrist kingdom and the mark of the beast in world events. What we are seeing with our very eyes right now is the manifestation of prophecy that is coming true. If you haven't seen the two previous videos, I'll go ahead and leave them in the pinned comment, and I highly encourage you to check them out. In today's video, I wanted to really dive into how this new normal is in fact a subliminal spiritual attack against the church. Did you know that California has banned singing worship in churches? But yet you can go out to the streets and protest? Yeah, don't tell me this isn't an agenda. We'll talk about that in this video. What I'm also going to be highlighting, the main point of this video, is to show you that the mask, the mandatory forcing of individuals to be wearing a mask, the infrastructure of that system will one day turn and be used by the Antichrist to persecute Christians and to enforce the mark of the beast. I'm going to show you the similarities between the enforcing of the mask and eventually the enforcing of the mark. They're so identical, it's crazy. Now, keep in mind, please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that wearing a mask is the mark of the beast. Not even close. I'm not stating that. What I'm saying, pay attention, is that the infrastructure, the systems that are being built around the mandatory forcing of free people to wear these things is the same infrastructure that one day the enemy is going to steal and turn towards Christians. And I'm going to show you that today, that the mask is in fact preconditioning society in preparation for the mark of the beast. And so if you're interested in that, that's what today's video is all about. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first piece of information that I wanted to look at and share with you really shows you how this new normal is in fact a subliminal attack on Christianity. Check this out. California bans singing, chanting in houses of worship. And so there is some bylaws that are being passed basically forbidding us to worship in church. But yet it is okay for us to go and protest. Apparently the media says that expert scientists are saying that, if you go out to protest, there's no correlation with the spike in COVID. But if you go to church and you worship and you raise your voice, yes, it does. And so clearly we can see that this is illogical. It's beyond common sense. I mean, obviously we know that the media is lying, but what is going on? It's more sinister than that. Remember way back when Christians did not want to follow the protocols and ended up still meeting up for worship, and the media ran to them to demonize them? Well, why weren't they doing that at the protest? It's because there is an anti-Christian agenda. They want you to go protest and to burn cities down and fight each other. That's no problem. But worshiping in church? No. You are evil if you do such a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, please wake up. It's time to use the eyes that God gave you to see what is obviously clearly right in front of you. Now, what I wanted to focus on here is something that I talked about in a previous video, how the mark of the beast is going to be implemented and how this new normal is the infrastructure that is preparing us for the establishment of such a system. And it is the social conditioning that is preparing the masses for such a thing. Now, in the first video of this video series, we looked at a Netflix cartoon that shows people being scanned for the mark of the beast. And so you have the mark, you get service. The Bible tells us that the Antichrist will force. Notice here in verse 16, he causes all. You could say he mandates, he forces all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. And the following verse goes on to say that those who do not possess the mark cannot participate economically in the world system. They can't buy or sell. And so, no mark, no service. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a coin shortage that is pushing us towards a digital currency, and we talked about that in the first one, but also no mask, no service. And one day, I promise you, this is going to transform itself into no mark, no service. So today, it is no mask, no service, but one day this will evolve. This is the foundational structure of the system to impose such a mark. We are getting conditioned to deny service to those who do not possess a mask. One day, that conditioning will just easily, conveniently target itself against Christians who are refusing the mark. And so, no mask, no service. The future, very soon, no mark, no service. And we can even see that there are scanning stations that are being implemented all over the place. I was at the mall yesterday going to meet up with a friend for a little coffee, and I walked by Apple, and Apple had a person scanning foreheads. So conveniently, I mean, one day you're not going to be able to go in the stores, you're not going to be able to participate economically if you don't have your chip scanned. And so these are the structures and the systems that are being implemented that one day will turn themselves against Christians. Another system that has to be put in place for the further persecution of Christians in the end times as the mark of the beast raises is this. Spot A. I'm not even going to say it because that's insulting. I'm not that because I don't believe the mainstream narrative. But anyways, for those who do not follow the mainstream media, Hollywood, and the elites' propaganda and buy it hook, line, and sinker, we are going to be demonized. And they're going to open up snitch lines, basically. Because in Matthew chapter 10, verse 21, the Bible tells us, a brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel against their own parents and have them put to death. And so there is coming a persecution of Christians, and this is the system that's being put into place. The snitch lines need to exist for the coming persecution against Christians. Snitches get rewards. In California, they basically were rewarding people for people who were going against the narrative. And it'll be the same thing in the end times. This snitch system of collection of information and all these phone lines are just going to conveniently switch from those who do not take the mask or do not listen to the bylaws to those who don't take the mark. The infrastructure is being set up. The preconditioning has begun. Another factor that's important to recognize is that the mask, like the mark, will be pushed as something cool and trendy. We talked about that in the Netflix video, and I encourage you to take the time. But this is going to be something that we're going to see the Hollywood elites come together to push this as cool and trendy, making it cool to wear a mask. Just nonsense. And it doesn't surprise me because this is part of the conditioning. So Hollywood, the elite, will be pushing it as the cool, trendy thing, and the masses who are spiritually deceived will fall for this. And they will line up around the block. This is from that cartoon on Netflix that I talked about, and it really shows you just how mindlessly brainwashed individuals will be lining up down the block to receive the mark of the beast because it is the coolest, hippest thing ever. And so mask wearing is now cool. I see it all over Facebook, people putting on the mask as if it's cool to take selfies with a mask. I don't think it's cool at all. Anyways, that's just... I don't look down on you either. I understand the conditioning and the brainwashing is highly severe right now, and it's hard to comprehend these things and not get swept away by it. But I don't think it's cool at all. Now, I can already hear, and I bet you there's already comments because I left this to the end of the video, but Mario, they do this. We need to do this to protect one another. I respectfully disagree with that, and I say this lovingly, brothers and sisters. I believe that you have been taken for a massive deception by Big Pharma and the health industry. In this video that I'm going to encourage you to go check out on ODD TV, exosome theory versus virus theory, what's talked about in this video is a different perspective, because do you know that the idea that the flu or the common cold comes from a virus is in fact just that? It's just an idea, it's a theory, and it's a not really well proven theory, but this theory really does help the big pharmaceutical companies that always want to just profit off of our illnesses, give us vaccines and pills and keep us sick. So Even before this hit, I was a firm believer in the exosome theory, that the human cold and flu is in fact our body purging out the toxins that are not natural, that find themselves in our system through the water we drink, the food, the air, etc. We end up getting a lot of toxins, and that is why the symptoms of a flu are, what do? You cough out certain things, your nose runs, you get a fever. A fever is your body producing enough heat to burn off toxins and viruses and things within your body. So I believe the exosome theory, that a flu is a natural good thing that occurs, that needs to occur. Now, yes, we can die from this. The common flu can kill people. So, if you have too high of a fever, definitely do something to take the fever down. But it is good that we go through this. I'm not going to take too much time on this, but ladies and gentlemen, just know that it is not absolute fact. And the science shows that the measures that are being put in place are not really preventing anything. I might make an entire video on this, so stay tuned, but please check this video out in the description or on ODD's channel. Now, a lot of people are saying, but Mario, they're putting these measures to protect people. Well, guess what? I just lost one of my friends. During this pandemic, the overdoses for people who have been in rehabilitation centers have gone up 42%, and that is because the measures. So these measures that are being put in place are not for our health. It's not for the health of these people, because so many people right now, because treatment centers are not taking them, are left on the street, are not getting the professional help that they need. They're on some very strong stuff and they're not making it out of it. And so don't tell me that it's for health when I just lost one of the brothers that I hold dearly. And so it's not about health, it's about control, and it's sick. And it was a plandemic. The Rockefeller Foundation, you can find this, I believe it was printed in 2013, 2012, Scenario for Future of Technology and International Development, where they basically lay out the plans that they have right now and how this whole narrative is going to play out. Notice at the top, scenario narratives. This is a script, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the virus is true, it's happening, but it is being greatly exaggerated for the purpose of collapsing the middle class, for the purpose of taking away our rights and freedoms, for the purpose of collapsing nations, imposing fear, because fear leads to control. They even did an event called Event 201, a global pandemic exercise right before this happened. Bill Gates and all his little buddies. So come on, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wake up. So there you go, everyone. I just wanted to share that with you. But before we're done here, I just want to share a little bit of encouragement with you. I just wanted to finish the video here by reading from Luke chapter 21, and we're going to be starting in verse 34. But watch yourself, lest your heart be weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the cares of this life, and that day come upon you suddenly like a trap. For it will come upon all who dwell on the face of the whole earth. But stay awake at all times, praying that you may have the strength to escape all these things that are going to take place, and to stand before the Son of Man. And so the Bible tells us to pray, to be in prayer for the strength that we're going to need to take a stand in this generation. Brothers and sisters, the Lord is with us. Don't let these things give you any fear. The Bible tells us that we are not to fear them that can kill the mind or the body or physically, but we are to have the fear of the Lord only. And no matter what we go through, remember, we were created for a purpose. God birthed you at this specific time in this specific generation for a specific reason, and he has called us to be warriors in some of the most exciting prophetic times ever. We are, I believe, seeing the final ending prophetic fulfillments that the scripture has. I don't know the day or the hour, no one does, for when the Lord will return, but let us, as the scripture says, to wait on him and not get caught up in life. Don't let the worries and cares of this world take you away. Wait on the Lord with great anticipation in holy obedience to him. So thank you so much for taking the time. I pray this video was a blessing to you. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Stay vigilant, stay sober, and fear no evil.